when that lion breaks out of
For the king
of the forest, I holler out loud.
Hello, my name is Chauncey K. Robinson.
I am Kristen Lopez.
I'm Carla Renata, and I am a
Tomato
Tomato
Meter
Meter
approved critic.
Movie musicals are kind of having a renaissance in cinema right now. In celebration of Wicked for Good coming to theaters, we're gonna talk about movie musicals.
I am actually a fan of movie musicals. I have a degree in drama, and although a lot of what I tend to review tends to be like horror films and more like dark fantasy and straight dramas, I have a very soft spot for movie musicals.
I love movie musicals because they represent all that's fun and fantastical about movies. Nobody spontaneously bursts into song. And yet, in a musical, your inner feelings become your outer words.
My relationship to musicals is that I am a former Broadway performer. I've appeared in shows like The Lion King, Avenue Q, Smokey Joe's Cafe. I even did a musical in Vegas for Queen of all people.
I wrote a book for Return of Classic Movies, so I love old Hollywood, classic films. Everything feels bigger, everything feels grander and more elegant.
As a film critic, the way I merge my performance world with my film critic world is I am able to understand these musicals on film better than anybody else as a former performer. I can look at the costumes and the production design and listen to the sound and the score and interpret it in ways that nobody else can.
Before we get into our favorites, let's look back on some movie musical history.
The defining musicals that have made the genre what it is.
There's always been a seismic shift when movie musicals come about.
Movie musicals have always been a stepping stone to the technological advancements in filmmaking history overall. And it even starts back as far as the first talkie, which is The Jazz Singer.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
Al Jolson, wow. I have conflicted feelings about The Jazz Singer for obvious reasons.
It was history making in the sense that it was one of the first ones to synchronize speaking and music and singing at the same time.
The Jazz Singer itself really did usher in this new era of acting where it wasn't just enough to look gorgeous and to be able to maybe shed a tear. You actually had to be able to deliver lines and emote while doing it and sound the way that the studio and your audience hopes you sound.
It actually tells a really interesting story of this Jewish man who is abandoned by his father, who doesn't agree with his choice to become a jazz singer and not follow what his father thinks he should be. It showed that kind of alienation that his character in particular is dealing with and told that story. And then on top of that, though, you had this added layer of the elephant in the room of the blackface.
I know that Al Jolson was the premier performer of his time, but him doing blackface, that's always very problematic for me. But then when I think about it, I have to put it in context of what we were dealing with at the time.
You have this character doing blackface, and we know better now, hopefully, that, blackface is not cool, right, in any sense. Yet, you had the vaudeville time where blackface was kind of a common thing. I think this is where nuance comes into play. Yes, you had people who did blackface and they did really racist caricatures of Black people. It's interesting though in The Jazz Singer because there's an overlapping of themes because he's a Jewish man who has felt alienated from his community. And then there's the idea of the Black American also dealing with alienation. So you kind of had this overlapping thing going on.
To watch it now, out of context, yeah, you're gonna feel some kind of way. But if you put it in context, you're like, okay, that's the way it was, but that's not how it is now. Let me watch this in the context in which it was shot. Having said that, he made movie history with that film. He was the jazz singer. He was that dude.
It did well, right? So audiences reacted well to it, which gave Hollywood this response of saying, oh, we can do this more. So I think it really just showed the next step in evolution of filmmaking.
to realize what it changed when it came out. This idea that celebrities and movie stars were not just being judged on their ability to emote, but they were going to be judged on their ability to talk, to carry on a conversation. You have stars that are being judged on whether their accents are too heavy, on whether their voice doesn't match their perceived persona. The Lena Lamont character stereotype in Singing in the Rain.
What's wrong with the way I talk? What's the big idea? Am I dumb or something?
Wow, really? You should have stayed in silent films because that voice is not happening.
Oh, it's a sensation. The public is screaming for more.
More what?
Talking pictures.
Yeah, because it's a fantabulous movie.
It tells an interesting story, and it has some of the best musical and dance numbers in there, and some of the best performers of their time. So I can see why it's really high up there.
When Gene Kelly starts doing Singing in the Rain, that was changing everything, because it's looking back at this silent era of film, and it's homaging it, it's embracing it, it's showing it as this halcyon period of innocence. At the same time, it's also telling you why musicals rock, and they are way better than anything in the silent era.
What's interesting, I think, about Singing in the Rain is that they actually have a reference to the jazz singer in there, right?
The Warner Brothers are making a whole talking picture with this gadget. The jazz singers. They'll lose their shirts. What do you think of it, Dexter?
It'll never amount to a thing. Hey, did you read Variety today? First talking picture novelty, The Jazz Singer. All-time smash in the first week.
It shows how much we love Hollywood, how much the movie loves Hollywood, but also how the musical has changed and now can actually reflect back on itself in just a few short decades, which I think is ridiculous.
You've got to talk into the mic.
Well, I can't make love to a bush.
Movie musicals introduced the first Technicolor technique, which we see in The Wizard of Oz.
It was just a perfect union for movie musicals. Now you have sound, but now you also have color, so you can make things pop. You can show the deep well of emotions that characters are singing about. So when Technicolor comes in, it's literally Dorothy going from Kansas to Munchkinland, because it really showcased why the advancements in filmmaking changed the game.
Oh my God. Who doesn't love The Wizard of Oz?
It's one of those staples. I think most people can say they've watched The Wizard of Oz.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. What is there not to like about The Wizard of Oz? But baby, when it hit theaters in 1939, the critics were having none of it because there were two other films that came out that year, Wuthering Heights and Gone with the Wind.
There's Gone with the Wind, which is considered the big spectacle film that everybody wanted to make, but Wizard of Oz was also kind of like that. And everybody's seen it, so it's not like you can't show it to somebody, that hasn't seen it or doesn't know of it. But when I tell them that Judy Garland is 16 years old in this movie, carrying this movie on her back, working under conditions that we now know would be toxic, the fact that she's still able to just act so well in these sequences, you really believe watching this is the story of a young girl who goes over the rainbow.
My favorite song. This is going to be so random. Most people love Somewhere Over the Rainbow, sung by Judy Garland for obvious reasons. But my favorite song from The Wizard of Oz is If I Were King of the Forest, honey. When that lion breaks out of
I were king
of the forest, I holler out loud.
It's pure magic. It's the reason we go to the movies. And I've seen that movie a dozen times with an audience, and everybody is still just as enthralled with it today as they probably were in 1939 when it came out.
Here is my number one, that I am so right about it being one of the best musicals ever. Whatever. This snobs. They don't get it.
You don't get a lot of Rent lovers. The film version of Rent, at least. And I think it's really underrated.
The film version of Rent didn't hit as strongly for me as the stage show.
Rent is one of those musicals where it has this ensemble of such interesting characters that all kind of mesh together in this chaotic way during this really crazy and chaotic time, the devastating HIV and AIDS epidemic that was going on. And then you had these characters, these creatives in this harsh, at times, city, trying to still find hope and love in their art form. And then kind of having to deal with the system in which they live under, where it's like, I need to make money. How am I gonna pay rent? How am I gonna pay rent? Which is a big thing. And I think the themes in it are things that still resonate today. They're dealing with death. They're dealing with poverty. They're dealing with hardship. And yet somehow it's such an inspirational and fun movie. I can't not cry when I watch it, but I also can not laugh either. So it's just, it always resonates with me.
Is it sanitized for a middle America audience? Yeah, sure. But, you know, it's La Boheme. It's always going to be a hard sell. And I think that the music is so vibrant. The cast is great. One of the few movies to actually utilize Broadway actors over A-list stars. There's a nice mix. I don't know. I'd like to think that if we didn't have this adaptation of Rent, would we have Idina Menzel? We probably would, but it wouldn't be the same.
You had trans characters in it, queer characters in it, Black characters in it. It was a melting pot of people that was representative of the world that we live in. And I think because of that, because of the lyrics in the music, 525,600 minutes, when you think of that being a year has a very different meaning for you.
I would say to the critics that gave Rent a rotten review, you are wrong. I don't know how you did that. You didn't see the vision.
Ah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I love this movie. I have a poster from this movie hanging in my house. Marilyn Monroe doing a musical sounds like a no-brainer, but this is the Marilyn Monroe musical for me.
I'm always so surprised when I see movies from like the 1950s or so that have such, in their own way, bold themes when it comes to women characters. So I can see how it could be someone's number one. I am not against that. I approve.
It's utterly beautiful. The Technicolor, she is beautiful with Technicolor and the costumes. It is just 10s all around. Marilyn Monroe is hilarious. I love that a lot of people have deconstructed it these days as a queer-coded film, specifically for a Jane Russell song that she performs in a room full of men in little panties that are part of an Olympic team. It is so sexually charged, but nobody's interested in her. It's hilarious. I think that it is the peak movie musical. If you were looking for a musical with a capital M, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is what you're watching.
When you think about a movie musical, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes is what you think about, because it's just big costumes and blown out orchestrations and massive makeup and massive hair and just oozing sexuality all over the place. I loved it.
I am a big Marilyn Monroe fan. I think she had like such an underestimated talent when it comes to her humor and comedy delivery, because I think that actually takes skills that people don't always know about, knowing beats and whatnot. And I think she just did so great.
You cannot think about Gentlemen Prefer Blondes without thinking about Marilyn Monroe in that pink costume singing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend.
I definitely love the musical performance that happens at the end. There's a big courtroom sequence, and Jane Russell gets to sing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. It makes no sense at all, but it is a joyous celebration of chaos, and I love
it. My number one movie musical in my Oprah voice. Wicked, baby. Wicked all day long.
I mean, Wicked is going to be the number one, I think, for a whole generation of people growing up. It's going to be one of those movies that there's a world I can see where somebody doesn't see The Wizard of Oz, but they've seen Wicked.
The thing about Wicked that makes it my favorite movie musical of all time is that we're dealing with the elements of good and evil and dealing with the element of othering, which as a woman of color, particularly as a film critic, I can relate to that more than you'll ever know. And the element of hope, that if you do the right thing, or even if you don't do the right thing, there is some version of hope waiting on the other side for you.
One of the things about the story is so interesting to me. It's like you take this vilified character and you are giving this different viewpoint of how they got to be that, the truth versus the propaganda, right? And I think that's a great angle to start off on. And I always find that an interesting way of looking at characters.
So many people have been waiting for that movie to exist. You know, I remember being in high school and they were talking about Wicked's coming. And when it finally did, I mean, I remember sobbing in a theater, just being like, it's finally here. We can all sing Defying Gravity together. Not that we should.
The technical elements of Wicked were bar none. I mean, they even gave an Oscar to the costume designer, Paul Tazwell, who used elements of like mushrooms and different types of textures to come up with the concept for Elphaba's costume. And he talked very much in detail about that during the award season.
I think the costuming in Wicked is beautiful and gorgeous. When it comes to that hat, there's this kind of weird duality that the hat itself plays, and how kind of crooked it looks, but it has its own kind of beauty, and which is somewhat of a reflection of Elphaba.
One element about the hair and makeup for Wicked that I loved is that Cynthia Erivo was very particular about what Elphaba's hair looked like, and she had her have really tiny micro braids. The makeup, they put little freckles in her face and the nails. We know that Cynthia loves her nails, but she really had her nail person do some special things for her nail designs for Elphaba, and it all paid off. There are so many elements about Wicked that you could get into, but everything from the production design to the sound design to the costume design, every element of that film was perfection. You can't find fault with any of it, and it should have won Oscars more than what it did. I'm just saying.
I'm off to see the wizard.
I am looking forward to the Fiyero and Elphaba scene. As Long as You're Mine is one of the songs that I have loved from the Broadway musical, and I am really excited to see what they do with that. And I am a Fiyero and Elphaba truther. I think there's added songs as well, some original songs. So I'm looking forward to see how that works. And I'm looking forward to some of the tried and true songs that I love.
Of course, I'm about to cry. I'm always drawn to the numbers in the film that have lyrics that are meaningful. And so, of course, I'm excited to hear For Good, because the last lyric of that song is, I have been changed for good. And they're both singing that. It's gonna tear me up. I already know.
Oh gosh. I mean, I'm ready to cry while I sing For Good to myself. I'm also really interested to see how they do the third act twist with Nessa Rose. For me especially, the role of Nessa Rose has always been played by a historically abled actress. So I think seeing someone like Marissa Bodie playing that character, I can only imagine what the next generation of Wizard of Oz fans who see her, who are disabled, are going to think and just be enchanted by that. And the sequel, I mean, I'm ready to see how it all shakes out. So, you know, I think we have to thank the transition of Broadway back to film. And what does that mean for the future of musicals? I have no idea. Do the films of these Broadway versions go back to Broadway? Who knows? But I think that it showcases the power of music and the power of dance, which is that it works in all mediums in different ways, but that people are eager to see it however they can see it.
I think if you're not into movie musicals, I think it's also a thing of understanding that music is universal.
Listen to the lyrics of the song. They're not just breaking out into song for no reason. The lyrics to the song are a verbal extension of what's being spoken.
I think it's a genre that exemplifies American filmmaking. So if you are a student of American filmmaking, and you want to see a movie that moves you, you have to see a musical. You have to understand why it was such a popular genre for so long. Music and dance have always been integral to cinema. And to ignore the genre just because, you find it silly that people burst into song, you're missing out on a lot of really fun stuff.
It will bring a smile to your face, and if for nothing else, for 90 minutes, 2 hours, however long the film is, you can kick back with your popcorn bucket and your drink and your snack of choice and just be taken away by the people on the screen. There's nothing like it. I would love to know what your favorite movie musical is.
Let us know in the comments.
And be sure to watch Wicked for Good, coming to theaters November 21st.